So here in this task, it says that write a script that prints the result of the addition of 128, right? We are going to add 128 what? With the value stored in the environment variable true knowledge. This is the environment variable, and the value we are going to add this 128 to is stored inside this environment variable, which is true knowledge, followed by a new line. So how are we going to do this? This is simply what? This is simply arithmetic, right? Share arithmetic. I think there is the material here, sorry, in the resources. You'll be able to see it here, shell arithmetic, but I'm not going to open. Let me just explain it to you here, and I'm sure you'll be able to understand the basic arithmetic. It's just calculations, how you can do calculations in the shell. So let's say now I want to print the sum of two numbers, right? Let's say 5 and 3. Sorry, let's say just 3 and 2, which the sum is what? The sum is 5, right? So I can simply say echo, right? If I say echo and say $sign, okay, then you open two brackets, right? One bracket within the other bracket, okay? So then I will just say 3 here and then plus 2. So if I press enter here, sorry, it's not supposed to be within the quote, okay? So just remove this and then this, then press enter. So you can see it's printed what? The sum of these numbers. So this is how you can be able to perform any calculations on the shell. You have to make sure that the digit you want to perform this operation inside what? This bracket. The bracket should be 2. I don't know if there is any possibility for it to be 1, but I don't think it will work if the bracket is 1. Let's check and see if it will work with one bracket like this. So you can see it's not going to work. So it definitely has to be 2 bracket here. So let's say I want to multiply two numbers. If I want to multiply two numbers, let's say 3 and 2, I can just simply press the shift and 8, which is the asterisk, and press enter. So this is going to multiply this for me. Okay, so now let's say I want to raise 3 to the power of 2, right? Let's say 3 exponential 2. So how can I do that on the shell? I can just say, okay, here instead of a single asterisk, I will use a double asterisk here, right? And press enter. So you can see it raises what? 3 to the power of 2, which is definitely 9. So this is just the basic arithmetic you have to know, okay? Just make sure you go through the arithmetic material in the resources section above, okay? So let's begin with the task now. I'm sure I've given you enough information so that I'll be able to solve this task here. So let's open the file. There's the file here. So vi, okay, so it's a script, right? So /bin bash, right? So it says write a script that what? Print the result of the addition. So just like the way we did now, echo, then $, right? Then we open our brackets, two brackets, right? Okay, so in this case, the first number, the number we are adding is what? Is 128. We are adding 128, right? Plus what? What is the next value? What is the other value we are adding 128 to? The value is stored inside this environment variable, which is true knowledge. So how can I access the value here? If I enter this true knowledge like this, it's not going to work, okay? So I will have to what? I will have to address the value inside this true knowledge. So how do I do that? You can just type in the $sign and then what? And then the variable name. So this is going to what? This is going to just check for the value that is inside this variable. It's just that you are telling the shell that, okay, this $sign is just showing the shell that, okay, this is a what? Environment variable, and what I want you to access this environment variable and get the value that is stored in it and add 128 to it. Okay, this is just what this command is asking you to do. So let's save and exit. So let's convert it to executable, ch, right? Then the file name, then press enter. Okay, so now the next thing is to what? Add and commit, right? G, which is add, commit is what? Let me just name this just addition. Let me just say addition, right? Then push. Okay, so let's push. So now let's see if the code works here. Yes, so you can see the code works. Okay, so this is just how you can do basic arithmetic on the shell. So now let's move to the next task. Let me clear my screen here. So the next task here says write a script that prints the result of power divided by what? Divide. So we are going to what? To print the result of the value that is stored in this variable here, power, and what? By the value that is stored in this variable, what? Divide. As you can see here, they said power and divide are environmental variables, and I've already explained to you how you can you can access the variables inside, the value inside an environmental variable. We simply use the dollar sign before the variable name, right? So let's see how this works. Okay, so let's open the file here and paste. So this should be bin bash, right? So the first thing we have to say is what is echo, right? Then open our bracket as usual. Okay, so write a script that printed the result of power. Okay, so the value is what is inside this variable power, which is an environmental variable. So we use the dollar symbol again and then type in what? Power, the variable, right? And then divide, right? Let me just give a space and see. Divide by what? The value that is inside what? Divide here. Okay, so I'm sure you guys understand what I'm trying to do here. We are accessing what? The values that are inside this environment variables, divide and what? And power. And then what? Dividing the value for power by the value inside divide. So that's it's just like saying 2 divided by 5. Let's say let me say 10 divided by 2. Let's say the value inside power is 10 and then the value inside divide is 2. So it's just 10 divided by 2. So here in this case, the values are stored inside a what? Inside an environmental variable. That's why we need to use this dollar sign here to access the value inside that variable. Okay, so let's save and exit and see if it will work. Sorry. Okay, so let's convert it to executable as well. All right, add. Let's say what should I name it? The commit message. Let me just say divide and rule. All right, then push. Okay, so let's check our code here and see if it will work. Yes, so you can see it works, right? So now let's move to the next task here. What does this task say? It says write a script that displays the result of breadth to the power love. I've explained this, right? I've explained something like this. I said if you want to raise a number to the power of a certain number, use the double asterisk within those two numbers, right? Let's see how this works. Okay, so let's open the file first. Let's open it. All right, so vi paste. Or before I open it, let me explain the concept again. Okay, let me explain the concept like we normally do, right? Okay, so now I want to raise 2 to the power of 2. How do I do that? I can just type in 2 here and then double asterisk and then 2. Simple. This will what? This will raise 2 to the power of 2 here. Let's press enter and see. So you can see it displays 4. Let's say I want to raise 2 to the power of 3. I can just say 2 power double asterisk 3. You see, it's going to raise 2 to the power of 3, which is what? Which is 8. So this is just what you are required, what you are asked to do here. Just as in this case, the values are stored inside this variable. So we have to use what? Dollar sign before adding these variable names. Okay, so let's move on. So paste here. All right, so hash slash bin slash bash, right? So it should be what? Echo dollar, right? So the values are what? The first value is inside this variable here, which is what? Which is breadth, right? So it should be dollar, then what? Then the variable name, which is breadth, right? Then what? Then double asterisk, then dollar sign, then the variable name, which is what? Love. So we are raising the value inside this breadth to the value inside this love here. So that's just it. So let's save and exit. Okay, so let's convert it to executable, right? So let's add commit. Let me just name it power of love, for instance. Okay, then push. So let's check the code and see if it will work. Yes, as you can see, the code works. Okay, so this is just some of the things you need to know about this shell arithmetic, right? So let's move to the next task here. Before that, let me clear my screen. So this next task here says write a script that converts a number from base 2 to base 10. Okay, so the number is in base 2, that is binary, right? Binary is base 2 to what? To base 10, which is what? Which is decimal, right? Binary zeros and 1, and decimal is our normal numbers. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the number in base 2 is stored in the environment variable binary. Okay, and the script should display the number in base 10 followed by a new line. So the number we are to convert to base 2 is stored here inside this variable here called what? Called binary. So before we create our script here, let me first show you an example of how you can convert from what? From base 2 to base 10, right? So you can just say echo dollar. What I'm converting is in what base? It is in base 2, right? I'm converting from base 2 to what? To 10. So you enter the base in which you are converting from, which is 2. So I would write in 2 here because I'm converting from what? Base 2. Then put in the hash sign here, and then what? The number you want to convert to base 10. What number do you want to convert to base 10? That means that the number has to be in binary form, right? The number you want to convert to base 10 has to be in what? In binary. So I want to convert from binary to to decimal. So let's say this is the value that I want to convert, this binary code here, 1010. So if I press enter here, you can see it's what? It displays 10. This has converted this decimal here from base 2 to base 10. Okay, so whenever you use this format, as you can see here, I've not specified anything to show the command that this is in base 10. But if you use this echo and this format here, the system will automatically detect that okay, you are converting from what? You are converting to base 10 automatically. From here you have specified from which base you are converting, but you've not specified to what base you will be converting. So the system or the shell automatically knows what you are trying to do, right? So let's say, let me change this here. Let's say 0 0 1 0 1. This is 5, right? Oops, sorry. This should be double brackets, right? So you can see this is 5. So this is how you can convert from what? From base 2 to base 10. So let's see how we can come about with this project here, with this task here. So let's open the file here, vi, let's paste. All right, so /bin bash, right? So it says what? Write a script that convert a number from base 2. So we can just say echo, right? Dollar, open our bracket, from what? Base 2, right? So 2 hash, then what? The value we are converting to base 10 is what? We don't have the value here. They said the value is stored inside this variable what? Binary. So how can we access the value of this variable? We use the dollar sign, right? Then what? Then we type in the variable name, which is binary. Okay, so let's save and exit. I'm sure this is not a new thing. We've been doing all these things since, right? Talking about how to access the variables and a lot of things like that. So now let's convert it to executable here. So 11. All right, so git add, so commit, let me just say base 2 to 10, right? Okay, so let's push here and see. So now let's check our code and see if it will work. Yes, so you can see it also work, right? So now let's move to the next task here. For that, let me clear my screen. So this task here says what? It says create a script that prints all possible combinations of 2 letters except what? Except O, right? Double O here. So letters are lower cases from A to Z. Okay, so the combination of the letters should be in what? In lowercase. 1 combination per line. All right. So the output should be alpha ordered starting with AA. So do not print OO. So we are not to print what? Double O in our combination. So your script file should contain maximum of 64 characters. Okay, so it should contain what? Maximum of 64 characters. So what are we going to do here? In this case, we are told to create a script that prints all possible combinations. Let me show you something here. I don't want to keep scrolling. Let me just copy this. I just want to open one of the resources there so that I'll be able to see how to do this thing, or it will give you a clue on how you can be able to do this thing. We are going to use range actually, so let me just open. It should be, I think it should be in this shell arithmetic. No, sorry, it should be in shell expansions. It should be in expansions. Yes, it should be here. Okay, so let's scroll down and see. We are going to talk about range here. So let's scroll down and see where we can find alphabets. Okay, yes, so you can see in this case here, we can just say echo, then the curly bracket, then Z to A. This will what? This will display all the characters in between in between Z and A, right? That is in descending order. So let's try this here. Let's say echo here. So let me just open the bracket. So Z and what? Sorry, Z, then A, right? So let's press enter. So you can see it has generated everything starting from what? From Z. So what if I say, okay, I want this to be Z, yes, and this should be what? This should be A. So you can see it has what? It has also generated from A to Z, right? So let's go back to our task here and see. They say we should create the script that print all possible combination, right, of two letters. That is, two letters, they have to be from what? From A to Z. But in this case, we are told what? Two letters, and the letters are lowercase. Let's see how to print this in lowercase. If I want to print this in lowercase, I will just change the text to lower cases. So you can see it will print this in lowercase. So we are told that what? Two combination. So I will just say echo. I'm using two combination, right, of A to Z. So Z, then another what? Then another A to Z again. Okay, so this will print what? Two combination. So you can see it has printed what? From A to Z, and then from A to Z again. So this is what? Two combination. You can use three combination if you like. You can say A to Z as well. You can see this is what? Three combination, right? So we are told to use what? Two combinations. So this is what we are going to do. In this case, we are going to remove what? To remove one of this range here. So and then what? It says one combination per line. We are going to use what? One combination per line. So how can we do that? I will just pipe this answer here. That is the result of this command here. I will pipe it to what? To translate, which will what? Transform any space that is in between to what? To a new line. If there is any space, it's going to if there is any space, it's going to transform it to what? To a new line. Because if it is in a new line, I will be able to what? To get the number of characters that are displayed. Because you see here they said your script should contain maximum of what? Of 64 characters, right? Should contain maximum of 64 characters. So I can just say, okay, I want to translate any space here to what? To a new line. That this means that this spacing here, this spacing, as you can see, between A and B there is a space, between B and C there is a space. So instead of them to display this spacing like this, I want them to be in a new line. Okay, so that's just what this tr command is just saying. Okay, so that we'll be able to what? We'll be able to count the number of characters. If it is line by line, it will be more easier for us to get the word count, even though in this question we are not asked to get the word count, but we are told that it should contain maximum of 64 characters. So this is also very important here. So after this, I will just pipe it again to what? Why am I going to pipe this again? Because they said here we should print everything except OO, right? Let me just remove this here. Let me remove this and show you what will happen. So you can see this is what I'm talking about. Instead of it to print the spacing here, it's not printing the spacing because I said any space it finds, it should what? Make it a new line. That's just what I said. So what if I put in a full colon here? Sorry, what if I, what is the command here? Sorry, so what if I put a full colon here and say, okay, it should what? Replace the spacing with a full colon. So you can see it has replaced all the spacing with full colon. But in this case, we are told to replace the spaces with what? With n, with /n. So which is what I did here. Okay, so let me first clear the screen. So this is just what this is going to do. So as you can see here, let me just press enter. Where is it? Where is it? it's going to print the combination, right? A, B, C, D, F, G. It will print them again, to print it again. But I'm not interested in printing OO. I don't want it to print OO, right? I don't want it to print OO. So what I'm going to do is just say, okay, grep. I will pass it to another, to pipe it to another command, which is grep. Then this grep is used for what? This grep is going to kind of look for a particular pattern in your file. If you are checking a particular pattern in a file or in the result of a previous command, you can use the grep. I've explained the grep before as well. So in this case, I want to what? I want to look for the word, sorry, the pattern, which is OO, right? And what will happen to this OO is I don't want to print this OO in my pattern. So I'm just telling grep that, okay, if you find this command, this pattern OO, don't print it. So but actually this grep is not going to do what I'm just saying here. It will print only the pattern that contains OO, while in this case we are told that what? Do not print this OO. So how can I filter this? I can just simply say, okay, this should be minus V here. The V stands for verbose. It means you are looking for something of a particular pattern that you don't want to print. Okay, so I don't want you to print OO. So this is just what this dash V is saying. Okay, grep, okay, grep, look for this pattern OO, but this minus V says, okay, when you look for this pattern OO, make sure it is not displayed in the output. So this is just what this is saying. Let's just open the file and work on it and see. Let me clear. Okay, so let's open the file and see how it will work. Right, so VI, then the file name, all right, /bin/bash. Okay, so the command, like I said, is what? Is echo, right? Then what? A to Z, right? So lowercase, then A to Z again. We are using two combination. Then what? Then we have to pipe it to the tr command, right? To convert all the spacing to what? To a new line, right? So yes, to /n, right? Okay, then what? Then pipe it to what? To grep, then -v, which is the verbose, right? Then OO. So this should be the command. I just hope this should work. So let's check and see. Let's convert it to executable file. Sorry, ch12 will work. All right, so add commit. Let me just call it grep, then push. So let's see if this works. Okay, I just hope it should work. Like I said, there are different ways to solve a particular problem. Okay, so you can see there's an error. So let's see what the error is. So the output is not correct. So there has to be a mistake in our command. So let's see what the mistake could be. All right, so let's check. Let's open the file, VI, right, combinations, right? So wow, so what could be the possible error? Okay, so I think here there should be a space, right? So this is the spacing, right? We are converting to what? To a new line. And okay, so this seems okay now. So grep -v. Okay, yes, this pattern here, this OO here, is supposed to be in what? In quotes. So that's the issue. I think it should be in quote. Okay, so I'm looking for this particular pattern inside this code. So let's check and see if it will work again. So let's convert it to executable. All right, so add commit. What was the commit message I used? Grep, right? Then push. All right, so let's check the code now and see if it works. I just hope it should. Right, it's still not working. Wow, so what could be the possible error here? Oh, whoa, that's the issue. The output is not correct again, right? So let's see. Okay, VI 12. This thing is looking correct. I don't know what the possible error should be. I don't know why it's, or let me just try this outside the file here. Let me clear my screen. So we said what? Echo, right? Then a to z, right? A dot dot z, right? Then a dot dot z again, right? To print a combination, right? So we then pipe it to what? To tr, then spacing, then what? Slash n, right? So and then we said what? Grep minus v, right? Minus v o 00, sorry, o. This is what we did, right? So it's like it's not giving us what it's supposed to give us. So let's try another way. So I think there should be no spacing here between these two. Yes, so this is the error. So there's not supposed to be a spacing between the two brackets. So I think the problem is now solved. So let's open. All right, so the mistake is here. Wow. So you can see we are learning by trying and failing. So let's save and exit. So this time around I just hope it works. So 12. All right, so let me first clear. So add, so commit, we said grep, right? And then push. So let's check again. Yes, so this time around it worked, right? So just kind of be careful when you are writing this all these things. You have to be careful of all these minor things. Okay, so let's move to the next task here. Before that, let me clear my screen. So this command, this task here says write a script that prints a number with 2 decimal places followed by a new line. The number will be stored in the environment variable num. So in this case we are talking about when you are dealing with numbers with decimal places in programming or any programming language. What is it called? It is called what? Even though this is not a programming language, but in computer in general form, when you are dealing with numbers with decimal points, they are regarded as what? As floats, right? They are called floats. Instead of integers, they are called floats. So before I proceed with this, let me show you this on the terminal before we enter it on our script or on our file, right? I like to explain to you on the terminal first so that I'll be able to see what is actually happening before you input everything on your file here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just say print f, right? That's the first thing you're going to do. Then open your quotes here. So what you are going to do is the format specifier. There is something that is called the format specifier. You just use percentage. Then since they said here with 2 decimal places, and we are dealing with float, right? We are interested in printing floats of 2 decimal places. So this should be 0.2f, right? So I'm saying that, okay, I want you to print a number with 2 decimal places, and this number is a floating number. So they said in a new line, right? So you can just simply type in /n here. Okay, so now the next thing is to enter the number that you want to convert to 2 decimal places. Let's say I just type in 10.587. So you can see this is just a random floating value. If I press enter now, so you can see it has converted it to to 2 decimal places. This is floating, right? This is a floating number. So now if I want to convert to 3 decimal places, for instance, I can just say 3 here, then press enter. So you can see it has converted the value to to 3 decimal places. So this is just how to do this. Okay, if you are interested in printing to a certain number of decimal place, you just have to denote that in your format specifier here. Okay, so I just hope this is explanative enough, right? So let's go to the file and type in this command. So vi first, so the file name, all right, so /bin/bash, right? Okay, so the command is we said is printf, right? Then then percentage, we are converting to 2 decimal place, then 2f, and into a new line. So in this case here, we are not going to enter any number here because we are not given the number. We said the number is stored inside this variable num. So how can I access the value inside this variable num? It is an environment variable, so we are just simply going to use the dollar sign here, and then the variable name. So this is done. So let's save and exit. Sorry. All right, so let's convert it to executable as well. All right, so add, commit, so let's call it some floats, then push. Okay, so let's check our code and see if it will work. Yes, so you can see it also worked, right? So now let's move to the next task here. Before that, let me clear my screen. So here in this case, we are asked to write a script that converts a number from base 10 to 16. In one of the tasks we've done, we were told to convert from base 2 to base 10. So in this case, we are converting from base 10 to base 16, which is from decimal to to hexadecimal. Base 16 is is hexadecimal. So but you know that in hexadecimal, let me quickly explain this. In hexadecimal here, 10 is is A, right? 11 is is B, 12 is C, 12 is C, 13 is D, 14 E, 15 F. So this is hex, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are represented as A, B, C, D, E, and F, right? Everything below 10 is just the way it is, 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, and so on. But anything after 10 is denoted with these alphabets here. Okay, so you have to take note of all these things here. So it says, so write a script that converts a number from base 10 to 16. So let me first explain this here before we begin to write the script. So now, to do that, I can just say echo. Like I said, there are different ways of doing all these things. If you can remember in the conversion we did in the past, I think the method I used in the past is not the same as this. Okay, there are a lot of methods to do this. Let me just go ahead. So echo here. So what I'm going to do is just type in this command obase. Okay, obase, right? Obase is equals to what? I'm converting to base 16, right? I'm converting to base 16. I can just say 16 here, since I'm converting to base 16. Okay, so and then what? And then a semicolon here, and the value I'm converting to base 16. In this case, I'm not giving the value, right? They said the value is inside this variable decimal. But since I'm not yet writing the script here, let me just type a value here. Let's say I want to convert 12, right, to hexadecimal. So I will just enter 12 here, and then pipe it here to this, which is the pipe, and type in this command BC, which means base conversion, right? So press enter. So you can see 12, it has it has displayed C. So let's see what's the value of 12. Yes, so you can see 12 is represented by C in hexadecimal, right? So let's say here, let me change this to let me change it to 14 and see what will happen here. So you can see it displays E, and E is is 14. Okay, so this is simply how you can convert from base 10 to base 16. Okay, this is how you can convert to base 16. You just need to enter this and then the value here. If you can remember, in the one we did, we just say echo, right? And then we use this dollar like this, if I can remember. Then we say we are converting to base 2, right? Then the hash, then the value in which we want to convert, right? So this is what we did when we are converting to to decimal. So we can also convert from binary to decimal as well, using this command here, or using this similar command. Let's see how to do that. I can just say echo, but in this case here, I'm going to use ibase instead of obase. I'm going to use ibase, which is equals to 2. I'm converting to I'm converting from base 2, right? Then the semicolon here again, then the value in which I want to convert, then you type in the BC. Yes, so you can see, sorry, this is 5 actually. Yes, this is 5. So you can see it has converted it to to decimal. If I add another 0 here, you can see this is 10. So this is another method of converting from from binary to decimal. Okay, so I just hope you understood all these things. So let's open the file here and write the script. So vi paste it here. All right. Okay, so what's the command? We said it's echo, right? Then O base is equals to what? It's equals to 16. We are converting to base 16, right? Then semicolon. Then the number in which we want to convert to base 16 is what is inside this environment variable named what? Decimal. So how can I access it? I'll just say dollar. I'll just use this dollar symbol here and then decimal. Okay, right? So let's pipe it here to what? Base conversion and press enter. Oh, sorry, this is a script. So this is how your script is going to look like here. Okay, so let's save and exit. Okay, so let's convert it to executable. Right, so add commit. Let me just name it to base 16. Sorry, typo. No problem. So let's check and see if the code works now. Oops, there is an error. So let's see the possible error here. We are not allowed to use, okay, we are not allowed to use this semicolon. Okay, and what again? The output is not correct. Okay, so I think we have to fix this issue here. We are not allowed to use the semicolon here. So I can just open the file again. Let me just open the file. So this semicolon we use here, we are not supposed to use it. So we have to come up with another method of this conversion. Wow. So how do we do that? Let's clean this and see if we can develop another way of performing this same operation here. I know definitely we have to use echo. So now since we are not allowed to use the semicolon, and for us to use the previous command, we definitely have to use the semicolon. So how do we do this? To do this, we are going to use the printf command, right? We are going to use the printf command just like the way we use the printf when we are trying to what? To print a float to a certain decimal number. So we are just going to say printf here, right? And then the placeholder. So in this case, the placeholder will be percentage x, right? This case is going to be percentage x. I'm printing something in what? Base 16. This is just what this is saying, hex, right? When you see x, is just simply denoting that I want you to print this in what? In base 16. And what? In new line. As you can see here, it says in new line. So when you do this, then you just give a space and what? The variable in which the value is stored, which is this decimal here. So you can just say decimal. Okay, so you can see in this case we did not use the semicolon, right? There is no semicolon. We just use printf and then the percentage x, which will what? Which will tell the printf that okay, I'm interested in converting the value inside this variable here to what? To hex. Hexadecimal is what? Is base 16. I'm converting it to what? Base 16. So this is just what this is saying. So you can just save and exit. Let's see if this works now. Okay, so let's convert it to executable. All right, so let's commit. What should be named? Base 16, right? So let's push and see if it will work. So let's try running the check again and see. Yes, so you can see it worked, right? You just have to learn how to read all these error codes here. It was from here that I know that the problem is from my semicolon, right? As you can see, I'm sure you've seen the time I viewed, I click on this view details here, I was able to detect that okay, the issue is from here. You can see it's from here. So you should be able to learn how to read all these things as well. They are very, very important. They will help you in fixing out the problem in your command or codes. Okay, so let's move to the next task here and see if we can be able to do it. Before that, let me clear my screen. So this task here says write a script that encodes, whoa, I've not done this task actually. I think from this 15, 16th, right? And then the last task here, I've not done this. I've tried as much as possible to see that I kind of developed the solution for this task, but I'm still working on it. Okay, so after I develop the solution, I'm going to drop the code in the description for this video. Okay, so just check back and you'll be able to find the code. So thank you very much. We'll meet in our next session.